Andrew Tate's secret society.
Chances are that 6 months ago, you didn't know who Andrew Tate was. And the chances are that now you do.
Hello.
Andrew Tate's a former kickboxer. He's now a social media influencer. Last year, he was more Googled than Donald Trump or Kim Kardashian, and his content's amassed hundreds of millions of views. His enthusiasm for misogyny, cars and wealth has delivered fame, thousands of fans, and many thousands of dollars. He's also being held in Romania as part of an investigation into rape and people trafficking. Tate denies all the allegations.
Do you ever wonder why some people who you've never heard of before all of a sudden appear everywhere?
And that clip we just heard, well, that was the journalist Matt Shea, who gained access.
How are we still milking Angry Tate? The only people that get this bent about like Andrew Tate coverage is like literally Andrew Tate fans who were just like, dude, come on. Just stop. He got owned already, please.
Access to Tate's compound in Romania.
To get inside, I had agreed to endure a professional cage fight in Romania.
I know he's gonna lose, but
I'd rather milk this than talk about Ukraine not getting potentially German tanks, okay? This is like at least closer to my plane of existence. But it's also kind of fun at this point because he's, you know, in jail.
wow, he's actually in there.
Along with 100 Tate superfans.
Matt Shea, welcome to the media show.
Thank you.
You've made this film for Vice. It's called The Dangerous Rise of Andrew Tate. I wonder when you first decided to try and make contact with him.
Well, I was actually first brought onto this story by a brilliant journalist and producer called Jamie Tausen, who's been following Andrew Tate for years before he became famous. So by the time we were filming in his compound in Romania, were positioned in such a way that he was just, the calls for him to be deplatformed were just happening, and we had a kind of inside view of him and his inner circle dealing with that.
And how do you go about requesting access to Andrew Tate's compound and requesting an interview?
Well, I think Andrew Tate was and his team are quite aware of the fact that any publicity, even bad publicity, would help them, and that was perhaps one of the reasons they decided to let us in. I think what they didn't realize was that we were also simultaneously doing an investigation into him that ultimately led to us speaking to, for the first time, some of the women from his past who alleged that he raped and abused them.
And when he and his colleagues agreed to let you into his compound and to film, did they give you conditions? Did they say, well, you can do this, you can't do that, you can ask this, you can't ask that?
Well, we're always upfront with him that we would be making an objective documentary and telling all the facts as we saw them. But yes, when we were there, you know, there were attempts to control our access.
We're moving on from the pointing and laughing phase to the dancing on his grave phase. And let me tell you, this is a bop. Thank you. Leftists are like permanently concerned about like enjoying things. Like, why can't you just like, this is perhaps the most ethical way to consume it. He already is like facing legal consequences for his like horrifying actions. Like, why the f are you now mad that like we're having a little enjoyment out of this, you know? It was infinitely worse. It was infinitely worse months ago when he was not in prison and he was just like running around and doing all
chaperones constantly. We were told, don't go in there, that door's locked, if you try and go in there someone will put a gun in your face. We had, you know, sort of tall, scary, intimidating, strong men behind us when we were interviewing everyone, monitoring our questions and all of that. So yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on to speak about your film. And Andrew Tate's story more broadly connects directly to how media content is made, distributed, moderated and consumed. And we're going to spend today's edition of the media show understanding that with the help of Matt Shea, but also with Helen Lewis, who's staff writer at The Atlantic, also presenter of the recent BBC podcast series, The New Gurus, which looks at online personalities with big followings. Hi, Helen. Would you consider Andrew Tate a form of guru?
Oh,
It's going to be funny as when he gets proven innocent, Lamau. Yeah, that'll definitely mean that he was definitely proven innocent. If anything, it'll be funny because, like, you know, he literally said he could bribe his way out of a Romanian prison, and that'll just be the truth again. But, like, if you actually unironically think he didn't do anything that he's, like, locked up for, I don't know what to tell you. He has literally admitted to things and has also, like, tried to educate others on doing similar things for years and years and years. So I don't know what else you need, but I guess you don't really need anything. You're just a idiot at that point. You know what I mean? Like, motherfucker can admit to all this shit on camera, and his fan base will still be like, nah.
Absolutely. He fits very firmly into what's known as the kind of manosphere. So these are a suite of gurus who attempt to tell young men how to live. And, you know, there is a very strong ideology behind them, which is as a form of masculinity has been lost. And, you know, having watched Matt's excellent documentary, the thing that strikes me is it's very much like a 13-year-old's boy's idea of what it means to be a man. A guy goes up and introduces himself, my name's Alpha Wolf. And how Matt did not laugh at that point. But it's like so much stuff on the internet where it is both ironic and not ironic, in the sense that they're saying
that was one of my favorite moments, dude. I swear to God. Unironically, like a 50-year-old man, a whole adult. You know what I mean? Just this accountant looking at this motherfucker is like, I'm Alpha Wolf. Like, bro, are you what? Like, something has failed in your life so severely for you to behave this way.
I'm a misogynist, you know. Of course, everyone calls me a misogynist, and there's understood to be a performance there.
By the way, leftist people who are like, why are we doing this still? Me, are feeding into the same exact shit that like Andrew Tate stands are doing in here by being like, bro, you're riding his dick so hard. You're riding his dick so hard. So enjoy that. Enjoy your moment when you get upset about this coverage, because you and the Andrew Tate stan fan base is in unison, operating in the same way at that point.
But it is also serious at the same time. And that's something I think journalism really struggles to grapple with, is saying that someone is putting on a show for you, but underneath the show there is something nasty going on at the same time.
And we're going to get into those dilemmas, questions for journalists when they choose to interact with someone like Andrew Tate. Let's also bring in Scott Galloway, host of the biggest business podcast in the US, the Prof G Show.
I did watch
as
the
well
Vice
as being
video,
host
yes.
of Pivot. Many of you listening will know it. It's a hugely popular tech podcast. Scott Galloway, you're very welcome to the Media Show. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
What lessons are you taking for the media from the story of Andrew Tate and the extent to which his content is consumed?
I think it's more spectacle than significant. The real learning is how to game the system. And that is, he encourages people to put out thousands of videos that go shorter and shorter and shorter. And he's tapped into the same rage machine that the algorithms love, that both Donald Trump and Elon Musk have tapped into. And that is, the optimal piece of content is something short, compelling, resonates with 60% of your audience, and enrages the other 40%. Because the moment you have rage and conflict around content, you get a lot of clicks, and the algorithms go.
Okay, chatters were correct though. This is boring. And all these other ones are annoying too. Let's watch this one.
Delusional a lot recently to describe some people and companies.
Oh, what, bro? What do you do in